Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon. Let's get to it.
Good morning. Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from LA. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Guys, how are you doing today?
Doing great. Great.
It is so good to have you back here in studio so I can educate you about Space Jam, the new one versus the old one. Here we go. Thank you very much for being here.
New one was much better. And I'm glad to return.
We have a lot to say, a lot to talk about. Oh, and we will get to the finals, I promise you that. But, you know, LeBron did have a new movie come out, and we need to review it. LeBron Space Jam, A New Legacy, was released in theaters and on HBO Max over the weekend, and the sequel brought in over $31 million. It's the best three-day stretch for a family film during the pandemic, and one Warner Brothers exec called it the, quote, family movie of the summer. So, Shannon, give the movie a letter grade, and was it better or worse than MJ's Space Jam? Tell me.
Well, for me, I gave it a B+, Skip, because I think it delivered on what it set out to do, and that was a family-first film. We understand that family is very important to LeBron James, and it came through on the screen. And I think there are a lot of fathers, a lot of sons and mothers that can learn something from this. Because it started out with LeBron James, and his passion was playing basketball once he got serious about it. And what LeBron tried to do was try to push his passion on his son. But that's not what his son's passion was.
On his second son.
On his second son, yes. Right. Now, maybe it hit a little different to me because I am one, played a professional sport, and had a son. And a lot of people would ask me, your son play football or play sports? And I said, no. Because at the end of the day, Skip, what I took from the movie is that your child will find happiness if he or she does what they truly passionate about. Dom was not passionate about basketball as LeBron was, or the older son was. His passion was gaming. And the wife tried to convey to LeBron, he doesn't need a coach. He needs a dad. He needs a dad that loves him, a dad that respects him and says, you know what, son? If you don't want to play basketball, that's fine. And it took LeBron losing his son for him to realize, and sometimes it takes us to lose a child. Skip, you know this. This past weekend, my son got married. And I was a little reluctant at first because I was like, man, you know what I'm saying? I told him, I said, you sure you're ready for marriage? Skip, as I'm sitting at the ceremony, and I talked to him before, he said, Dad, I'm really nervous. As the pastor is going through this and giving them the vows, I'm looking at my son, and I've never seen him happier in my life. That gave me peace. And after the ceremony, I put my arm around his bride, Rebecca, and I said, you know what? I've never seen my son so happy. I said, welcome to the Sharpe family, and I'll love you just like I love my own kids. You see, LeBron had to lose his son for him to realize that, you know what, basketball is not the most important thing. Whatever my son has passion about, that's the most important thing to him. Now, I played sports for a lot of different reasons. To get my grandmother out of poverty, and so my kids would not have to worry about the things that I had to worry about. And people often say, well, I do for my kids so I can give them things that I never had. True. I love giving tangible things to my kids, but I also love giving them knowledge and understanding that my grandparents and my mom couldn't give to me because they didn't know the things that I was able to attain over the years. So for me, that's what I took from the movie. I thought it hit. Sure, Skip, if people want to say, well, there are too many IPs, there are too many references to other Warner Brother films. But did that distract from the message that it was trying to convey? I don't believe it did. So I gave it a B+. I liked the movie. I thoroughly enjoyed the movie, and I would recommend it because I think a lot of families can take something from it because we see the way parents behave when they go to these games. Because when you behave like that, it's not about you. It's not about, it's not about the child. You make it about you. So for me, Skip, I think LeBron's message of family first and understanding your kids and their passion and supporting them. And what I told my daughter-in-law family, I said, I never pushed my son in any direction. I just found the direction that he was going in and I pushed him hard. So once I found out what his passion was, which was schooling, I pushed him hard in that direction. I never tried to break him up with anybody he was going with. If that's who you love, son, if you love it, I love it. And so, Skip, that's what I took from the movie. I'm glad I got an opportunity to see it. And I think it's a movie a lot of families can get something out of.
Okay, my turn. So on Friday night, my wife Ernestine and I, and we don't have children, but we did watch the new Space Jam. And we watched it, and we watched it some more because I kept dozing off because it's 2 hours long, which is too long.
Right.
And then Saturday night, we said, let's rewatch. Let's go back because it's up all over you can see it just about anywhere, the original Space Jam. And it's an hour and 28 sweet minutes.
Right. And this was 155, so it's about 30 minutes longer.
It's about 30 minutes over long to me. So that's where I start with this. And the contrast between the new and the old was stunning to my eyes and Ernestine's eyes, because the first one is so much more lovable and palatable than this one. And I'll get to your theme that you brought up in just a moment. But because LeBron is a nice guy, I'm going to try to be a nice guy today and give his new movie a C, because mostly Don Cheadle is sensational, but he's always sensational because he's just one of the best we have right now, if not right at the top of the list.
Right.
So he takes over much of the back half of the movie, and yet, to me, the new Space Jam is no closer than the original than LeBron is to Michael Jordan, the basketball player.
They took it in a different direction.
Okay, well, I'll get to that in just a moment. And remember, to me, LeBron, the basketball player, is about as far from the true GOAT, Michael Jeffrey Jordan, as L.A. is to Chicago. So, to me, the new Space Jam, in the end, comes off as this big, loud, overlong mess of a movie, a big-budget movie, that is trying so hard that it tries too hard to be the original or top the original. And I told you all last week, LeBron has to be careful here because he cannot be Michael Jordan or beat Michael Jordan. And I think he lost badly once again to Michael Jordan in this movie. So to your point, it's a one long ode to LeBron, and it's one long bigger ode to Warner Brothers, because they pull out all the stops. It's product placement all over the map of Warner Brothers. It gets so bizarre that at the end, during the basketball game, Warner Brothers hauls out every villain from its archive and parades them behind the villain, who is Don Cheadle's character, Algie Rhythm. And it's everybody. It's like the Wicked Witch of the West. It's Jim Carrey from The Mask. It's the clown from It. It's like, what? And then I'm looking, I even see that evil gang from A Clockwork Orange. And if anybody knows that movie, that's some evil stuff that they put in there, right? Okay, so the only true-to-life moment in the movie came very early because it's showing LeBron as a high school player, and guess what? He missed the last-second shot. Oh, okay, I got it. So I like that part, and then I'm not sure what happens the rest of the movie, but here's my bottom-line takeaway, that if you watch these back-to-back like we did night to night, you'll find that Jordan was far better at playing himself than LeBron was in this movie playing himself. I liked him in Trainwreck, but it was just mostly a cameo. But in this case, Michael Jordan comes off as completely comfortable playing Michael Jordan. He's cooler, he's funnier, he's completely in control. He's clearly the centerpiece of the movie as the superstar of the movie.
Yeah, but Skip, in the movie, in the original, it's about Michael Jordan leaving the game, coming back and showing that he's better than Larry, showing that he's better than Patrick Ewing. That's what he showed. What was the message? Okay, let me ask you a question. What was the message in the original Space Jam?
Let me finish my point. So then we have LeBron trying to act in this movie, and he kept coming across as trying so hard to, look, everybody, I'm acting. I'm going to try to act. I'm doing this. And he came off like a first-timer in a high school play because they're asking him to do things that he's not capable of. Because the bizarre plot line that you point up is LeBron was actually the villain for much of this movie.
Yes.
Because he was the overbearing dad who said, I got one son who's going to be great, and I got a second son who wants to create video games?
Right.
Are you kidding me?
Right.
Come on, snap out of it.
Right.
And all of a sudden, his son turns so against him that his son joins forces with Algie Rhythm, the villain of the movie, and they create the super team that LeBron has to battle with the Toon Squad.
Right.
Okay? So for much of the movie, he's pitted against his son, which I found highly uncomfortable. It was just like, what? Who am I supposed to root for here? Because I find myself rooting for the son who's with the bad guys.
Well, that's what happens, Skip. Sometimes you can become so overbearing, wanting something not that your child wants, but you want for your child. You push the child away. You push him in a direction that he or she doesn't need to go in. But that's the essence of the movie, Skip.
Okay, but LeBron came across in the end as so wooden and unconvincing because he's trying to show love and forgiveness to his son that's not really his son. If they'd let his actual sons play the roles with him, then maybe he could have just lost himself in the role. But in this case, that wasn't really Bryce, the second son.
I think they're trying to get away from things of that nature, Skip. It used to be because Will Smith in his movie, I think The Pursuit of Happiness, that was his actual son playing the role. So I think they've tried to get away from that, Skip, putting all the money and the eggs in one basket.
So I didn't know if it was autobiographical, that LeBron's actually had some issues with his second son, Bryce, because I never hear about Bryce playing basketball. Maybe he does, and I don't know about it.
I see it. I see it from time to time,
Okay. Well, is he going to be as good as the namesake son, the first son in basketball? I don't know. And has there been some internal conflict in the household of LeBron exerting some pressure over Bryce to actually be as good as Bronny?
I gave you Todd Marinovich. That's the telltale story.
I got it.
He didn't want, his dad pushed him so hard, he pushed him in a direction that he didn't need to go. And he turned to substances that he didn't need to turn to.
He rebelled,
So what happens is LeBron is trying to, as a family.
Although, by the way, Todd Marinovich, he achieved a high level because he was a high pick for the Raiders and started games for the Raiders.
Had a couple of 300-yard games.
He did.
But Skip, what LeBron is doing in this family movie, this is about family look. Fathers and sons, mothers, mothers, daughters. Let your child choose the path.
I got it.
That they want to go. Because a lot of times, Skip, we want to, especially, now LeBron is a very different animal here. A lot of time parents tried to choose a path that they couldn't go down. So they want to live their life through their kids. I was very fortunate. I didn't have to live my life through my kids, so I allowed my kids to be themselves. So Key didn't want to play football. He didn't want to play basketball. He didn't want to do sports. That was fine with me. What's going to make you happy, son? So LeBron had to learn the hard way. What was going to make Dom happy wasn't playing basketball. It was gaming. And it wasn't until he lost him that he realized, you know what? I would rather have my son than lose him because I want him to do something that he doesn't want to do.
Okay, but I thought LeBron was like Father of the Year. So I'm trying to get comfortable with, wait a second, the Father of the Year is actually the Great Santini. Do you know that movie, The Great Santini?
I don't.
Well, he's the all-time ultimate cliche demanding dad, like to a fault.
Right.
And I just didn't want to see LeBron be the Great Santini, be the overbearing, demanding dad to a fault, where he lost his son for a while to the dark side, right?
Yeah.
And then they finally sort of hug and kiss and make up and all that. And again, it's kind of shaky at the end because LeBron, he's not capable of pulling that off. I wasn't convinced by it in the end that that's what melted the forces of evil. You know,
let's not get carried away now. LeBron is human. Athletes are human. I know they have an enormous amount of talent, and they can do things the average person can only dream of doing, but he is human. And maybe that's what maybe, I don't know, Skip, but I'm saying this is a movie. Sometimes it's dramatization, sometimes but maybe it is a situation where he was too overbearing on the middle son. Maybe it was a situation that the middle son at some point in time didn't want to do it. And LeBron, maybe that is the case, but I overall took that as a family movie. Family, hear your kids out. Push them in the direction that they want to go, as long as they're not harming themselves or someone else. And that's what I took from that movie. LeBron missed a shot, but as the coach told him, LeBron, you can go places with this game. You just need to take it serious. Okay, LeBron took it serious. A lot of times what we have to understand, Skip, is that they might not take it as serious as us in the beginning. See, Key wasn't, for me, Skip, I couldn't wait to play a game and call my brother and tell him what I did, be it high school, college, or in the NFL. I was excited. He didn't get that kind of excitement. He got excited by telling me, Dad, I got an A in this. Dad, I remember the I Have a Dream speech. Skip, I think he was like 8 or 9 years old. He remembered the entire speech. He was so excited to say, Dad, I remember the entire speech. He got that kind of excitement that I got from telling my brother I caught 3 touchdowns for 200 yards. So then, okay, now it dawns on me, Skip. My son ain't gonna be no professional football player. My son's not gonna even be a college player. My son's gonna be an academia.
Okay.
I'm gonna love him the same.
All right. I got it. I appreciate that. But in the end, I challenge everyone to go back and watch the first one if you can't remember it from 96. Okay, the theme is that you have real NBA players, starting with Barkley and Patrick Ewing, Muggsy Bogues, we can go on. And what become the Monstars decide that they need to actually steal their talent. And you can see them actually playing in NBA games, and their talents get sapped, zapped out of them. And all of a sudden, it's funny because it's very inspired and clever to watch Charles Barkley just be some guy trying to walk through an NBA game, and he can't even catch the basketball. That's clever to me. And then those Monstars go on to be challenged by Michael Jordan, who gets sucked down a golf hole, and he's playing golf against Larry Bird and Bill Murray, who at that point was still pretty famous from his Caddyshack scenes. And so they're all hitting shots to a par 3, and the Toon Squad is underneath the green and tilts the green so that Michael's ball goes in the hole on one shot, a hole in one. And as he reaches into the cup to pull his ball out, he gets pulled down through the, so to speak, black hole down into Toonville to save the Toon Squad.
But at the end of the day, what this is about? This is about Michael Jordan being so great that he can say this was about him. LeBron made it about family. And I'm not saying Michael didn't have it. Look, you make a movie that you feel is going to be best.
Well, in the end, it is a cartoon, right?
And how many cartoons have a family setting? Skip, we haven't seen a whole lot of this. And plus, the females, Lola Bunny, she was the best athlete. She wasn't sexualized.
No.
You look, they got a Neko Bumake. They got Diana Taurasi.
They did.
So I love what I'm seeing.
It's much more politically correct this time, sure.
So when I look at it, Skip, I took from the movie, I said, LeBron, you did a good job because you're trying to convey, like you said, this is animation, this is cartoon. Now, Skip, the CG is, for 25 years ago, what it is today compared to what it was then is night and day. And 25 years from now, it'll be even night and day further. But the message that he was trying to convey, that he put out there, I thought he did a great job of doing it. Yes, they had a lot of IPs and product placement. Yes, LeBron had a lot of product placement in there, from Nike to his logo and all that. I get all of that. But for me, it did not detract from the theme of what the movie was trying to convey, that family and fathers, mothers, hear your kids out.
So you thought LeBron was a better actor than Jordan was in the first one?
I thought, Skip, they were acting doing different things. If LeBron was put in a situation where it says, okay, LeBron, I just want you to go out there and be the best basketball player you could be. But that's not what he was doing. He's being a father. At some point in time, it's hard for you to be the best basketball player and the best father. But I think LeBron James pulled it off. I thought he did an unbelievable job, and I'm glad I got an opportunity to see it.
So, in the end, I even had a problem with Don Cheadle because he's actually too lovable to be the classic villain that you needed in this movie. And I don't know if you've seen the new Steven Soderbergh, the No Sudden Move. Is it on Netflix or?
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay, we were actually in one not too long ago called High Flying Bird. Remember that was a Soderbergh movie that we had a cameo in. So the latest one features Don Cheadle, and he isn't good in it. He is great in it.
I know Don very well. He's from Denver, so I know him very well. Yes, he's tremendous.
But he plays a lovable criminal in this one and just takes the No Sudden Move over. And it's almost like a nod to that role. He's the villain in the new Space Jam, and he's oddly lovable. Like I can't hate him, I can't fear him. He's he's too cool to fear.
Well, I think the thing is, Skip, in actuality, he wants to be respected. He wants to be loved because nobody takes him serious for what he does. He does this great job, and nobody really cares about it. So he says, okay, you don't know about
I had as much sympathy for him and for Dom, the middle son, as I had for LeBron all the way through the game that goes on for like an hour. The whole second half of the movie is the game.
Right.
I was just saying, I just hope it doesn't go to overtime because I don't know if I can stay awake any longer.
No, LeBron, it wasn't going to overtime because we had something up our sleeve.
No, did you?
Yeah.
Well, you had the director up your sleeve. You had the writers up your sleeve.
And guess what happened? When it came down to it, the son realized my dad only wants what's best for me.
He did.
And he flipped the switch and won the game at the buzzer.
Because he came over to the good guys,
That's right.
quote unquote. Except I'm not sure if the good guys were the bad guys or the bad guys were the good guys.
The bad guys were the bad guys were the bad guys.
I think they were actually the good guys.
He was the original bad. He started out as a bad guy, but Skip, that happens sometimes.
Yep.
Sometimes kids will turn against their parents because you pushed them in a corner. You pushed them into a place.
Well, I ask you again. Do you think it was autobiographical? Do you think that Bryce and LeBron have had that issue?
Skip, I wouldn't even want to speculate on that. I have no idea.
It was interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, you know, the only critic, and I appreciate both of your takes, the only critic that really matters is $31 million opening weekend, and that is
That's
a huge number for them.
Yeah.
That's not true.
Hold on.
Wait a minute. He's got 142 million followers.
Hold on.
It's a big deal for them.
And hold on, Skip, we are in a pandemic. Now, if this movie had came out in 2019, and when you could, because, people still...
Well, wait a second. We're in a pandemic in L.A., not in the rest of the country.
But here's the thing, Skip. People are still a little concerned about going, not everybody, but some are concerned about going and sitting in movie theaters. And if I'm going to go and Skip, you know, the last thing a lot of times some people want to do is go sit into a movie theater. Now, a basketball game, a football game, or good outdoor. Skip, I've been cooped up for the last year and a half.
I ain't trying to go. I think they're pouring out to the theaters.
But the audience score, so the Rotten Tomatoes gave it a terrible score.
They did.
But the audience, after they saw it, gave it an 81 score. The audience, after they saw the original, gave it a 63 score. Now, I'm not a mathematician.
Yep.
But normally
what I told you? Blind witnesses.
No, I'm not a mathematician, but normally the higher the score, the better it is. Unless you're playing golf.
Yeah.
Then the lower the score, the better it is.
Those must be kids under 12.
My
See,
hot take.
That's what the movie was for
My hot
kids.
take is I kind of liked it. I thought the message was
Thank
good.
you.
It's a kids movie. We're moving on for now. Good stuff for both you guys. Giannis and the Bucks were able to steal Game 5 on the road from the Suns 123-119 on Saturday, and this was a wild one. Milwaukee overcame Devin Booker's 40 points thanks to a clutch steal from Drew Holiday that led to a game-stealing Giannis alley-oop dunk. So, Shannon, what's the biggest reason the Bucks won Game 5 at Phoenix here?
Skip, Holiday was sensational.
Agreed.
The job that he's doing on Chris Paul, Skip, he's showing you why he's first-team All-NBA defensive. Skip, and you look at it, I think the game that if the Suns were to lose this series, they're going to look back on. They're going to say game 4. Drew Holiday was 4 of 20. He was stinking up the joint. Devin Booker has 42, and we lost that game. But if you allow Holiday to come back and follow that up with 12 or 20, and you let Middleton shoot 50%, you let Giannis shoot 50%, Skip, you're not going to beat them. You can't let a team's big three go get 88 points, 20 rebounds, and 24 assists. And people are saying, well, the Suns shot 65% from three, and they shot 50% from the floor. But hell, they let Milwaukee shoot 58% from the floor and 50% from three. And when the game you thought was going to get away from them, Skip, you know they made this run in the second quarter? You know, Giannis was on the bench. And Holiday, half of his points came in the second quarter. And he matched them. I fought Monty Williams because I couldn't understand why he would rest Ayton and Booker at the same time. You lose your rim protection and your scoring. But Holiday, Skip, these last 2 games, he's been sensational on the defensive end. And he's sacrificed some of his offense. If you look at, they've given him the toughest assignment. He goes from having to guard Kyrie and James Harden. I understand James Harden was not the same James Harden he was before the hamstring. And then he goes and have to deal with Trae Young. And then it says, okay, now you got Book. Now we need you on CP3. So he's had tough assignments. And so maybe his offense has suffered a little bit. But he put together a complete game. And when if he plays like this, they're almost unbeatable. Because Giannis is going to be Giannis. and Chris Middleton, I've never seen a guy that swings so much like Chris Middleton. One game, he looks like a guy that belongs in the G League. And the next game, Skip, he looks like a guy that should be first team All-NBA. Did you see the shots that he was making down the stretch? Mikal Bridges is all in his grill. He's pulling up from 24.
No, but that's been going on fairly regularly.
The last two, Skip,
Yeah.
and that's the thing, Skip. But we saw him go 6 of 23 and score 11 points. We've seen him score 14 points after coming off 30-point performances. And we like, what the hell is this? But for me, Skip, Drew Holiday was the difference in this ball game. And he made the difference. He made his presence felt. Skip, this might be one of the first series that we're going to go back and we're going to look at the two biggest plays of the game happened on the defensive end. It was the Giannis's block, and when he caught Devin Booker. But the problem happened is because Devin Booker, they resorted to going Devin Booker one-on-one. And Holiday said, you know what? He going to shoot this ball. When he turns his back and when he looks back around, I'm going to be there. Snatches it, throws the lob, Holiday. And you know what, Skip? I'm coming to the conclusion that Milwaukee's big three is just better. They played their best. If Milwaukee's big three played their best, the Sun big three plays their best, who you taking? I'm taking the Bucks.
Okay. I didn't quite see the same game you saw on Saturday night. So let's reiterate what happened. Phoenix comes out like gangbusters, and they just blow them off the floor in the first quarter, and it's 37-21. It's plus 16 after a quarter. And Budenholzer does an interview between quarters, and he's saying, we just got to settle down. And I'm like, settle down? You're done, man. You're going to get wiped out tonight, and you better be thinking about Game 6 at home, seeing if you can hold serve and force a Game 7 back in Phoenix. And to your point, Giannis is out, and all of a sudden, Milwaukee goes ballistic and goes on a 44-23 run in the second quarter. But this is what was even worse. This is at Phoenix.
Yes.
This is as crazed a crowd. I was texting with Lil Wayne after the game. He was courtside. He said he has never been in a more electric atmosphere with a louder crowd than he experienced on Saturday night in Phoenix. So that's going on.
Right.
And guess what the Bucks do? From the end of the first quarter until the 9:08 mark of the fourth quarter, they go on an 87-57 run. Think about that. They beat them by 30 points over that stretch. That'd be quarters 2, 3, and a little bit of quarter 4.
Correct.
A 30-point swing in the game? How do you explain that?
Couldn't. I've never seen anything like it.
You can't. And then, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Here comes Phoenix back again. And guess why, ladies and gentlemen? It was Chris Paul being guarded by Drew Holiday, and Chris said, no, not in my house. And Phoenix goes on a 25-12 run down to the 30-second mark. And that was led by Chris Paul scoring 13 of the 25. I thought he was sensational in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So my point is that Drew is guarding him, but Drew wasn't having much success down the stretch of the fourth quarter. And then what happens, if we can reiterate, with 31.9 left, Drew Holiday misses a 12-foot floater. It's a 2-point game at that. They've cut it all the way down to a 2-point Bucks lead.
Right.
And guess who gets the rebound? Devin Booker. He scored 40 in back-to-back games that turn into both games losses.
Right.
Well, that's never happened before in finals history. So what happens? Devin starts to dribble the ball up the floor. I'm calling timeout. I just said, let's just get a timeout here. But Monty's thinking, no,
don't want him to set.
Don't let him set. But I've got the ball in the hands of the guy that I love. I want to live and die with Devin Booker. So what does Book do? He's still a young player. He dribbles and he dribbles and he's dribbling Pat. He's got Tucker on him and Drew. And he dribbles to a spot where he could have gone up at 15 feet or maybe 10 feet and shoot his kind of shot.
Right.
But he thought, well, I got this.
Right.
I'll just keep going deeper. I'll go deeper. I'll go deeper. And all of a sudden he gets to Giannis. Well, where's he going to go? He can't go up through 6'11".
I think he's going to turn around. He's going to turn around and shoot the fadeaway.
Okay.
But he totally forgot about Holiday.
He'd already left him in the dust, but now he's coming back out of the dust, and he just takes the ball completely out of his hands and goes the other way. And Giannis takes off running. That's what I love the most about Giannis is he will hustle his butt off.
Yeah.
He gets more hustle bunnies than anybody I've ever closely observed. So he is flying up the court, and he gets the lob dunk, and Chris Paul, not too smartly, just shoves him because Chris just lost it for a second. Just thought, the game is over, basically. I'm going to shove him. And then what happens? Giannis ends up missing the free throw so badly. He bricks it so badly, it comes all the way back out to him to back tap to Middleton, who gets fouled.
And Skip, here's the thing. Everybody in the building know he going to miss it. I know it. You know it. The people sitting, Mark Jackson, them, I'm sure everybody knows it. Chris Paul even said it. Hell, we knew he was going to miss it. Skip, and he takes a huge risk because he back taps it blind. How does he know he doesn't back tap it to Chris Paul and get a run out?
Okay, so Middleton misses the first one. I'm thinking, is he going to leave the door a little open for a game-tying three? But he makes the second one, and the game's basically over.
Right.
So here's my point. Game 4 in Milwaukee and Game 5 in Phoenix came down to one play.
Right.
If we could remind everybody, unfortunately, what Chris Paul did or didn't do in Game 4 with 32 seconds left, he's got the ball. They're down 2 at that point. And if we could see that play, he just lost the handle. He carried the ball in his left hand for a second, and then he just lost the handle, and Drew Holiday took it away and went the other way, and Middleton gets a run-out basket. That's ball game.
Right.
Okay, so my point is this. These teams are stunningly evenly matched, where it has come down to one play in each game, the Chris Paul play and then the Devin Booker play. And if you execute, if you cash in on both those plays, we might be having a different conversation because Phoenix could be in the driver's seat, or as we say, the catbird seat, to win a championship.
Right.
And instead, they couldn't convert the one play required to win the game. And Giannis actually got lucky that he missed his free throw so badly, because if he had missed it conventionally, where it just...
Ayton would have got this, one of them guys would have got the rebound.
Okay, and then here we come again, and it would be a three-point game, and they would have a shot. Somebody could get a three to tie.
But Skip, the game has really come down to this. The Bucks are plus 28 in rebounding overall, plus 32 on the offensive end, which explains 31 more shots. So it doesn't do you any good to force them to miss shots if you allow them to grab the rebounds. But Skip, if you watch this game, did you watch what Holiday and Middleton was doing to Chris Paul? They were playing him like an old soul record. They got whatever they want, whenever they want.
The other way. Yeah,
yes.
Chris can become a liability.
Yes. Did you see? I'm like, hold on. Either go to a zone or get Chris Paul off of Middleton and Holiday because they're getting whatever they want. When do you know? That's an all-defensive player. When have you known someone to attack Chris Paul? Well, they did it. Now you see that, Skip. When we talk about basketball strength, we normally don't talk about it unless it's Shaq. Shaq moved people. LeBron could move people. Oh, Dwight Howard could just move people out of the way. Look at Drew Holiday is doing to Chris Paul. He's backing him down, shooting over the top or getting layups.
Well, he's got 3 inches on him, and he's got some years on him.
He probably got 20 pounds on him, too.
Yeah, he does. He does. And he can jump a little bit. Chris doesn't jump much at all.
So I was like, Monty, either go to a zone or get Chris Paul off of one of those guys. Let Chris Paul play Tucker.
I guess so.
Let him play Tucker. Let Mikal Bridges or Jay Crowder or Book deal with them. That
may be Chris's pride talking, where like, I'm going to take him. I got
Skip, you can't. Skip, hold on. In the second quarter, Skip, what did they shoot in the second quarter? They shot 17 or 24 from the floor, 71%. They shot 6 of 9 from 3. 67%.
Okay.
They were 3 of 3 from the free throw line. That's how. And then they followed up in the third quarter with another 36 piece.
Okay, I got it. Yet, if at the end of the game you had not seen the game and I just showed you the final box score, if you broke it down and looked hard at it, you'd have a hard time making a case that Milwaukee won the game.
Right.
Because look at the good things that Phoenix did on their home floor. Well, Book scored 40, right? And Chris Paul scored 21 on 9 of 15 shots and made all 3 of his threes. And Ayton went 20 and 10. That's pretty good. And they only lost the rebounds by 2. So at least they were in the ballpark, right?
But it was that one. Remember that offense?
I got it.
When the offensive rebound happens, Skip.
But look at Mikal Bridges. He goes 5 of 6 and 3 of 3 from 3. That'll work. And Crowder was pretty good, 4 of 7 and 2 of 4 from 3. So my point to you is they didn't play badly. They made 13 of 19 threes. That'll usually work, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So everything I showed you just comes down to one play. Book's got to score 42 points. He needs to score 42.
He might need 45, 50.
Okay, well, maybe. But I'm just saying, the way this game broke down, if he had scored 2 or 3 more points, they could win the game.
Skip, if you take Ayton out, now they're going to bring Lopez in. Lopez plays on the box. Bud has gotten smart. Hey, I need you down on the box. They're small. When Bobby Portis comes in, he's crashing the board.
He does.
Okay, Coddington comes in. Mm-hmm. He's crashing. Skip, what's so surprising about to me, is that a team that crashes the board like they do, the Suns don't get more runouts. Why? Yep. Because Chris Paul's not trying to push the pace. So now they're not even, Skip, they don't even worry about it. Everybody's crashing the boards because they're not concerned about runouts. You should punish a team because everybody's crashing the board. You get the rebound, throw it, boom, we get layups. But we're not seeing that from the Suns. Okay.
Yet they won the first quarter 37-21.
Yes.
Go figure.
They thought the game was over. Skip, I've never seen a game turn like this. Now, I've seen games, they battle their way back into it. But, Skip, you down what, 16 points? And somehow you go into the half with a lead? How? Well, when you shoot 71% and you shoot 68% from the three-point line, that's how you do it. It's like the Suns just stopped playing defense. Skip, ain't no way. 17 or 24. I guarantee you, if you took those guys out there in practice and said, okay, hit the shots that you hit in the game, I guarantee you they wouldn't go 17 or 24.
Yep. Okay. I would agree. Bottom line, final thought, is that DeAndre Ayton put up decent numbers, 20 and 10.
Not enough.
But you know what? He doesn't dominate. He looked the other night too timid for his talent. He looked like he felt like he really didn't belong out there on the floor in a Game 5 because Giannis is playing much more freely and confidently than Ayton does. Ayton still looks like he's not sure he could do this.
Right.
And I don't love that for them. So if you want to do big 3 versus big 3, Giannis still has all kinds of shooting issues, free throw issues, especially on the road. Big issues.
Skip.
Can't trust him.
Monty, I don't know what you're looking at. Stop letting Giannis go baseline.
Well, that's because Ayton's taking him solo every time.
Don't, Skip. What was the number 1 rule? Force Jordan to the middle. Your help is coming from the middle. You let him go baseline.
That's the cardinal rule of basketball.
And
don't give the baseline.
Every time Giannis goes baseline, he either scores or draws a foul. Now, at some point in time, Monty Williams, everybody keep telling me how great a coach he is, and he gives some great little speeches. But at some point in time, you got to tell Ayton to cut the baseline off, send him back to the middle, and help is coming. That's what the Jordan rules were. Do not let him go baseline. Okay. Force him to the help to the middle.
Have we seen one time that Phoenix said, let's build a wall and force Giannis to beat us, as opposed to we'll just let the others. If they want to score, they can score. And that's been the magic formula to reducing Giannis to discombobulation in previous series and previous years. Well, they don't do that.
Right.
Monty's just sticking by his guns, maybe stubborn to a fault.
Okay.
Ayton can handle him.
Okay.
Well, okay.
He probably could, but if I'm Ayton, if you watch the tape, look at how Giannis is getting his buckets. He's going baseline. He's forcing you to foul him. He's going up and under.
Or he's just more aggressive than you are on the offensive glass.
Absolutely. Yeah. But Skip, the thing is, if you block Giannis, here comes Portis. Here comes Coddington.
Yeah.
Here come all the PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker might have 4 rebounds. 2 or 3 of them gonna come on the offensive end. That's it. It's simple. Monty keeps saying it's simple. Okay, just do it.
Yep. I got it.
And Monty said after the game, we just need to win one more to get back on the plane. But what exactly happened to the Suns? Let's dig a little deeper into this team, because after winning games 1 and 2, the Suns have now dropped 3 straight and find themselves on the brink of losing the finals to the Bucks. Chris Paul said Phoenix needs to regroup after the 3 losses and focus on game 6. Shannon, will the finals end tomorrow night?
Skip, I just don't see how the Suns grow between over the last 3 days. Are they all of a sudden, do they got some players that's 7 foot and 6'11"? I don't believe they do. And the offensive rebounding, and we talked about it, Skip, in our sport, all turnovers are not created equal. And when you look at it, they only had 2 more offensive rebounds. Was there anyone more bigger than the missed free throw by Giannis? Timing has a lot to do with in the ball game. The referee made a bad call. If he makes a bad call in the first quarter and you win the ball game, you don't think about it nearly as much as the call that he made in the fourth quarter. Well, this rebounding, and that's what it is, Skip. They've gotten crushed on the offensive rebounding, and the Bucks are plus 28 rebounding overall, plus 32 in 5 games. So they're out average rebounding on the offensive end about at 6 per game, which leads to second chance points. They're crushing you the last 4 games in fast break points. How a team that's offensive about rebounding you leads you in fast break? Shouldn't it be the other way around? I don't get it. I just don't get what Phoenix. Skip. It's like I said, you had the opportunity when you let Holiday shoot 4 of 20, and Book had that phenomenal game. And you didn't win that game. Skip, but if you look at this number, look at Giannis had 23 attempts, 14 of 23. Middleton had 23 attempts, 12 of 23. Holiday had 20 attempts, 12 of 20. Now, let's look at Book. Book is 17 of 33. Chris Paul is 9 of 15, 8 and 7 of 12. Well, if you took their big 3, one guy took more shots than all the other two guys combined. And if you look at the see how it's divvied up? What happened, they fell behind. They started watching Book go one-on-one. Book did a great job, but you get a lot of standing around. If you go back and look at the play where Holiday took the ball from, look how many guys are in the paint, and look how many guys standing around watching Book go one-on-one. So I know Monty said it only takes 1 game to force them to get back on the plane. Skip, I don't believe they forced Milwaukee to get back on the plane. I don't.
So, when Game 5 ended, I very soon tweeted, congratulations to the Milwaukee Bucks for winning their first championship since they had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Oscar Robertson,
years.
right?
71.
Because it just felt so over on Saturday night. I'm now trying to pull myself out of it. I'm trying to second-guess myself, cross-examine. Did I overreact?
Yeah.
I don't think I overreacted.
How many of these games can you overcome, Skip? It happened to you in Game 4. It happened to you get
3 in a row. 3 in a row. And once it starts going south, it's hard to reverse the momentum because Milwaukee's playing more and more confidently. So you had your chance. You're up 37-21. The NBA championship is within your grasp. And you give up an 87-57 run at home. It's just pathetic and unacceptable. And you have a Giannis who on the road in this series is really struggling from the free throw line.
Yes.
He's now barely above 50%. And the other night in the fourth quarter, he became the usual disaster.
Yes.
They were quick counting him into oblivion on the road at Phoenix. But at home, not so much because nobody's quick counting him at home. And he's been in a little bit of a comfort zone shooting free throws at home because he's made 17 of 25 in this series. That's 68%.
Right.
That's close to respectable for him. So you lose that X factor of Giannis at the free throw line.
Correct.
And this is just me, and maybe it's an easy second guess, easy 20/20 hindsight. But if I had been Monty Williams, as it got more and more desperate early in the fourth quarter, I would have hacked him. I know even the great Greg Popovich, he always says, I hate it, but it's the rule. The rule allows you to do it down to the 2-minute mark. Well, if you hack him and he starts missing and you put more and more pressure on him by hacking him again, you completely disrupt their rhythm and their flow.
Atlanta did it to Ben Simmons and it won him a game.
It won him a game because it takes everybody out of the flow. Middleton and Holiday are looking at each other like, well, we don't even get to touch the ball, and they're fouling him again. Because you can just go just touch him and foul him. and stop play.
Yep.
And you completely deflow the game.
Yep.
You take Milwaukee out of any rhythm that it has. So I would have done that. I would have resorted to it. Maybe, Monty's old school, and I appreciate that. Like, that's just not how you play the game.
I mean, he's trying to win the game, all that old school foolishness. Well, you're gonna lose, just like the old school.
Okay. And it's possible Monty will look back on this and say, God, I had my shot, because who knows if you get back here or not.
Yeah.
The West is tough, man.
Skip, and I commend Milwaukee. You think the Nets are going to be beat up again, hurt again? Is James Harden and Kyrie going to get hurt again? What happens if Philly swings a trade, all of a sudden they get Dame Lillard? So now you pair Dame with Joel Embiid.
Fair point.
The Lakers are coming back. Who knows what the Lakers are going to do? Okay, Jamal Murray comes back healthy.
Keep on keeping on.
Kawhi comes back healthy at some point in time. Then what? Ain't no guarantees in this.
What's Dallas going to do?
Yes.
Okay, they got a new coach.
This is an opportunity. You got a golden opportunity. I don't care nothing about, well, this guy was hurt and, well, the Suns dodged the bullet. They got here. And so you take advantage of the opportunity once it's before you.
So, in the end, I can't see it, because I can't see that Phoenix could play a whole lot better than they played on offense the other night.
Right.
And I definitely think Milwaukee will play even better on offense, because Phoenix is not able to guard them. They're not able to stop them doing all the things that they do. They're just getting a little better by the game. The only hope I would give Phoenix is Monty has a way, sometimes Chris Paul has a way, of relighting Ayton's fire. And if you get him, so every once in a while he comes out with a mad on, and he'll give you a dominant performance. I've seen it about 3 or 4 times through their playoff run, where all of a sudden somebody in the pregame locker room lit his fuse, and he explodes on somebody because he's got a lot of ability. But he also, on any given night, will just drift through the game. And he doesn't play with high passion or high RPM. And when he doesn't, they get in trouble.
Well, see, Skip, the thing is with him is that different than Giannis. Giannis gets the ball. Giannis can go create a shot for himself. Ayton is dependent on Chris Paul or Devin Booker giving him the ball.
Sometimes, but I've seen him wheel and deal and go baseline and go up and shoot a 10-foot jumper.
But Skip, we look at the 2010, you're like, 2010, that's pretty good. But he needs to be 2017, 2018.
He does, because it didn't feel 20 and 10. I didn't feel that kind of impact.
No, he has to dominate the boards. Crowder and Bridges, they're going to have to get on the boards with him. Because you can't keep losing the offensive rebounding, because, Skip, you're doing a great job forcing them to miss shots, and then they get the rebound and put it right back in. So you've defeated the perfect. You played great defense, forced the missed shot, and they grab the rebound and put it right back in. That's really demoralizing. Not only are they putting it back in, Giannis is dunking it home.
They are. So in the end, I thought Phoenix had everything it could have asked for, because Chris Paul was in a comfort zone to start the game, because I've told you before, he's friendly with Mark Davis, who got assigned as the crew chief. So he's in a comfort zone with a referee who he thinks will give him an even break, give him a fair whistle. And Lil Wayne missed the 2 games in Milwaukee because he had other commitments, but he got there Saturday night. LeBron was there. Rich Paul was there. Adele was there. It's like everybody's there. It's like, this is your night. You're on stage.
You know what, Skip? It finally felt like a finals, because we see the stars showing up. You know, the stars normally come to the finals games. Now, L.A., obviously, Denzel, and, we remember Jack and Diane, all the big star celebrities. You saw Arsenio Hall, and then everybody would show up. So finally, we get an opportunity to see. I think in Milwaukee, the comedian showed up. I forget, Dave Chappelle.
Oh, Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle showed up. But Skip, the front row normally is littered with stars. And so now, Game 5 finally felt like, okay, this is the finals. I see stars. Okay, LeBron showed up. This one showed up. Adele, you mentioned Adele and Vanessa Hudgens and all these. They did. Yeah, now it's the finals.
And Book couldn't pull it off. And it just kicked that whole crowd right in the stomach. And all of a sudden, the Suns have to get on a plane and go to Milwaukee, which won't be star-studded. No. I don't know, will Aaron Rodgers finally show up to a game? I doubt it. And it just feels like Milwaukee is going to be coronated tomorrow night.
And Skip, Chris Paul gave us the stat line that I thought he would give. I said he'd give us 20. I said 22 and 10. He gave us 21 and 11. That was the stat line, and that's why I said Ayton would be 8. I thought Ayton would give us somewhere around 18 and 15. Book was going to be Book. But, Skip, you can't let that big 3 go off and get this. I mean, they're the first who is it? No, Middleton and Giannis are the first teammates with 500 points and 100 assists since D. Wade and LeBron. Well, when you let them do that, Skip, you're not beating them. You're not beating them. I'm sorry. I wish there was something I could tell you. And a big three that does this, you got to go back to Kareem, Magic, and James Worthy.
Yep. It's over. And I hope I'm wrong about that, but it's
I hope so too,
over.
But man.
No mercy. Team USA is getting back on track with a second straight exhibition win leading into the start of the Olympics. The 83-76 win over Spain last night should give the team more momentum, and Greg Popovich said they are, quote, getting better with each passing day. So, Shannon, should we be the prohibitive favorite to win gold right now?
I wouldn't go prohibitive favorites, but I still believe that we are the favorite. And I heard everything that some of the players are saying. Jason Tatum said these international players are now not just playing in the NBA. They're MVPs. They're improved. They're defensive player of the year. He's absolutely right. Dame Lillard said in the past, we've watched USA win, and they might have one guy on a team, and he's a rotational player. Now they got their starting five, plays in the NBA, and I also have 4 or 5 other guys that are rotational players. I get that, but if I'm not mistaken, Skip, is there anybody on the American team that does not start aside JaVale McGee and Keldon Johnson? Dame Lillard is a starter. Bam is a starter.
I mean, trust me, Keldon Johnson starts a whole lot for San Antonio.
So basically, the only guy that really does not start is JaVale McGee. All the other guys that started, Kevin Durant starts. Zach LaVine starts.
Yep.
So,
no doubt.
So for me, I get what you're saying, guys. Yes, they have NBA players, but I believe we have better NBA players. And to their point, yes, because a lot of these guys have played so much together. I mean, international play, we got to, hopefully put together a team to get to go play international play. These guys play together all the time. They've been playing together for 7, 8, 9, 10 years, some 15 years. How long you think Pau Gasol been playing on this Spanish team, Skip? At least since he was 16 or 17. He's 41.
41. He actually looked pretty good last night.
Luis Scola is 41. He's been playing probably since he's 14, 15. So I get it.
Argentina is 40-1 to win the championship. Go ahead.
So with that being said, Skip, I understand what they're saying. I understand the concerns that these teams are getting better. We're not the prohibitive favorites like we were early on because they only had 1 or 2 guys. Croatia had 1 guy, Toni Kukoc. Everybody else on that team was in the NBA except Christian Laettner, but he was about to be in the NBA. So I get that, Skip. But for me, I think we should be favorites, but I don't think we should be overwhelming favorites. It's not like 2008, 2012. I was like, man, we ain't got nothing to worry about. They on a mission. They went there with the sole purpose after what happened in 2004, Skip. There was no doubt in my mind we was not coming back with the gold medal. I don't know about this one, Skip.
You don't know.
I don't know about this one, Skip.
And how do you not know? Well, like you think somebody will get them somewhere?
Like I said, I'll be willing to shove all my little chips in the middle. Yeah, we got the gold. Right now, I think I might hold a couple of my chips back.
Really?
Yeah, just in case.
Well, I bet you, but you'll tell me you won't bet against Team USA.
Okay. If I got to tell somebody to get home, how am I going to bet everything and I won't be able to get home from Vegas?
That's true. After what I saw last night, I am ready to say that Team USA is a lock to win gold.
Oh, you going all in?
Fox Bet has them 1-5 favorites. That is prohibitive.
Yeah.
Because second favorite is Spain that we wiped out in the second half last night at 9-1. Third favorite is Australia. I have a little more respect for Australia, a little more fear of Australia than I do of Spain. But they're 12-1. We are 1-5 favorites. And yet, I remind everybody, these are the players who aren't on our team. This is how good we are without these players. These are the players who aren't on. LeBron is not there, obviously. Kawhi is not there. Kyrie, James Harden, not there.
No Steph.
Stephen Clay, not there. Anthony Davis is not there.
Right.
Russell Westbrook, nope. Paul George, nope. Donovan Mitchell, nope. Zion, no. Those players are all not on our Team USA right now, and we are 1-5 to win the gold. Think about that.
Now if we'd had LeBron and AD and Steph and Clay.
Would the starters be completely different? There would be one of our current starters who would still be starting, and that man's name is Kevin Durant. And I don't think Dame would start if all those players were there. I just don't think he would start.
I think Dame and Steph would be the starting backcourt.
I don't know. It's a close call.
Along with KD, LeBron, and AD.
Okay. I don't know.
And then I was like,
That's a
Skip,
hard call.
hey, man, we got this in the bag.
Yeah, but would that not be a dream team?
Yeah.
Whew. And by the way, there's no Bradley Beal because of COVID issues. So we had him, and now we don't have him.
Right. But here's another thing, Skip. If you had all those guys that you mentioned, there would be some guys that's currently on the roster that wouldn't be on the roster.
Okay, I got it. So now let's look at Australia again, a team that knocked us off early, Nigeria and
They beat
Australia.
out women, too.
Okay, well, okay, so let's look at Australia's men's team. As much as I fear them because they've been together for a long time, they got heart, they got guts, they got cohesion. It's Paddy and Adele and Joe Ingles and Aaron Baines and Dante Exum and a couple of guys, 6'11 guys, who one plays in Australia, one plays in Europe. Okay, really?
Yeah.
Really?
We got something for Australia. We're going to beat the brakes out of them because we didn't forget what you said, Joe Ingles.
Okay.
Oh, we walked on the court expecting to win.
We expected to win. Okay, I got it.
Keep that same energy, bro.
We have Kevin Durant. You have Patty Mills. No, and he's the clutch closer.
Yeah.
He is something, but he's getting up there in years.
Yeah.
Well, I got the best player on the planet. In my viewpoint, the best player in the world is on our team, and you got Patty Mills as your best player, I guess?
Well, I don't need to break it to you, but Dame has been the best player.
Okay, so far he's shot better than Kevin. But when it's time, when they get to Tokyo and these are real games, you know who's going to rise and shine.
Dame.
We have Kevin. You don't have Kevin.
We got Dame Dollar.
Okay. Really?
Yeah. And that Dollar time is international.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dollar time is exhibition time.
15,
Wait
40.
until it counts.
1,500 hours.
All I care about is France in game one. And France is dangerous because France has some NBA players.
They got the Stifle Tower.
The Stifle Tower.
So that's why we got JaVale. That's why we got JaVale.
Batum, who was a guts and glue player for the Clippers down the
We
stretch.
got something for him. He ain't going to do that.
Okay, well, there you go. So is anybody going to do anything for Spain? You know, Ricky Rubio.
All of a sudden, Ricky Rubio played better in international play than he ever does in the NBA.
And it seems like he's been playing international basketball for like...
Since he was 10.
5 Olympics, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So is it the Gasol brothers? We saw the younger brother look like a glacier playing for your Lakers.
Right.
And as you said, Powell's 41 years of age. And then there's Abrinas and there's, they got a collection of pretty good players and they've been together for a long time. Can they really beat KD and Dame? And, we've got a pretty good group of players. It's almost like a second line of players that we have. And we did have to add Keldon Johnson and JaVale McGee. And JaVale is 7 feet tall and long, and he knows that he's been on 3 championship teams, so he'll give you an honest day's work.
But here's the thing, Skip. He knows what he's there for.
Yep.
Rebound and challenge everything. And in the international play, you can knock the ball off the rim. So I expect to see him knock a lot of them off the rim. Hey, you lay it up. Hey, JaVale, knock it off. So, and the thing is, Skip, is different. International play is different than the NBA.
Yeah.
Because you can't coach these officials. And you ain't flopping and getting calls there.
Yep.
And I'm not so sure. It's not like the officials, they think we're arrogant anyway. They think we go out there on the court, we're supposed to win. So it's not like they're sad if we were to lose.
Yep.
So we got something for him.
Okay.
But I'm not, all my chips like you are.
Zach LaVine is a very good basketball player.
Yes.
And I like that he's asserted himself because for a while he was the odd man out. And now he's the odd man in thanks to the loss of Bradley Beal. Jason Tatum hasn't given you anything yet, but he's obviously capable. I'm like Draymond gets a little worse every time I watch him, but he is guts and glue and savvy and know-how and experience.
Well, if you're looking for Draymond to give you some points, don't even count on the point. But he's going to give you rebounds. He's going to set great picks. He's going to facilitate. That's what he's going to do.
And then I keep looking, Bam will give you, he'll play his tail off for you.
Yep.
And then it's down to a Keldon Johnson. So we don't have all those stars that I read off.
Right.
But Keldon Johnson was a very good player at Kentucky, and he's been very good for the Spurs because he will fight you, he will scratch you, he will claw you, and he'll get all the hustle points that you need as your X factor on offense. And he got 13 points just on hustle plays.
Yeah, he'll run the floor. But Skip, it's not like in the original. Skip, we don't have bigs like that. There's no more David Robinson and Patrick Ewing and Shaqs. They're not there. That's not what our bigs do.
Yep. So I'll give you this. In those exhibition games, we got out-rebounded by an average of 6.5. It's almost 7 a game.
And the third, we get, and everybody beats our butt in the third quarter. So we got to shore that rebounding up and then close that third quarter down.
Although in blocks through the exhibition games, we had 26 The opposition had 11. So we are blocking shots.
Yeah.
KD can block shots.
Well, you got JaVale now, who's a shot blocker, rim protector.
We got this.
I ain't going prohibitive.
Yeah, but there aren't enough superstars on other teams that scare you, where you say, they got
hell, no, not me, but it still scares them because they seem like they talking about them, talking about the other team got NBA players too.
I'll bet you 5 cases right now. I'll take Team USA, wall to wall, wire to wire. Nope. Because you know that we got this.
No, I don't. Yeah. I mean, look, like I said, in 08 and 12, slept easy. Kobe, Bron. No, KD didn't make it. KD was on 12. I was like, man, we got this. Dwight, I was like, we got this.
You just don't want to see KD show you once again he is the best player on the planet, and that's what's about to transpire.
No, my guy, I'll show you the best player on the planet. Did you not see the movie? You saw the movie Friday, right?
The movie?
Yeah! He's the best guy on the planet.
He missed the last-second shot. He started doing it in high school.
First of all, don't skip the man. Skip, the man was 7 years old.
No, he was in high school.
No, when he was 7 years old playing video games. Wasn't focused. And then he got focused. Really? And then what they show you? On Sports Illustrated, Chosen One.
Yep. Well, he became a cartoon. He was pretty good as a cartoon.
You a hater. I'm convinced.
As a cartoon. The Americans open up Olympic pool play against France next Sunday. So we got a little time here. We will be watching Team USA very closely. I love the Olympics. It starts very soon for us. So go Team USA.
No mercy.
LeBron was one of many big names courtside during the Bucks-Suns at Game 5 on Saturday night. LeBron has made it clear he is pulling for his good friend Chris Paul to get his first finals win. Shannon, what did you make of LeBron attending Game 5?
He was there to support his friend. Skip, we know the relationship that he and Chris Paul have. I believe he and Chris Paul are closer than any other. You know, we know what it is, he and D-Wade and he and Melo. But I believe because he's known Chris Paul longer. He said they first met for the first time. They were in 8th grade at an AAU tournament. And it was his junior year, his sophomore year, that they really, really met and became friends. And LeBron said on Jimmy Kimmel, we've been friends ever since. And for the birth of his second son, Bryce Maximus, Chris Paul was there. And then the next day, LeBron said, I proceeded to go get my ass kicked. But that's a story for another day. And Chris Paul is the godfather of LeBron's second son. So, Skip, that's all it is. He said, well, Chris was there for my very first finals appearance. When I was in 2007, when we were playing against the Spurs, Chris was there. And that's all. I'm just giving it back. And he said, I got a horse in the race. Yeah, he stayed silent. Yeah, Chris Paul's my friend. I want Chris Paul to win. And so that's what I took from it. Now, some people, I ain't gonna call no names, will say, well, all he tried to do was upstage Chris Paul and still because everybody knows the camera's gonna be on LeBron James. Someone else would have said,
well, he does have a movie to promote, right?
It's my time. Let me finish up.
Well,
someone else
you're speaking for me. I can speak for myself.
I said someone else. I ain't say your name. Would have said, you know what? Well, he did keep his final streak alive. That's 11 times he was made an appearance in the finals. And then someone else would say, yes, he's promoting a movie, so he wants to get his face on the screen, yada, yada, yada. I look at it as Chris Paul's my friend. I'm there to support my friend, and I want what's best, and I want them to win. There ain't no secret about it. I'm a fan of the NBA, but I'm a bigger fan of Chris Paul.
So, LeBron and Chris Paul are so close that not too long ago, Chris Paul played a potential closeout Game 6 in LeBron's town, in LeBron's house, Staples Center, and LeBron oddly showed up to the game being played across the street, the WNBA game, and didn't go into Staples to support his friend Chris Paul, who was on the verge of going to his first ever finals. I don't know how to explain that. I don't know what it was about.
Easy. West Conference Finals, the NBA Finals.
Oh, I see. But it's one step to get to your first ever NBA Finals in LeBron's town. And he chose to go to another basketball game right across the street from Staples being played at the same time by the WNBA. Again, no problem. He goes to an occasional WNBA game. I have no problem with that. But why would you choose that night not to go to Chris's game in your town, in your building?
Because we already know it was our town. We didn't want to show up Kawhi because the cameras would have never panned on Kawhi on the sideline if we had showed up to that. You know that, I know that.
Was it because LeBron was a little threatened because the Clippers were also nearing an NBA Finals?
Y'all wasn't nearing nothing.
He wanted to try to upstage the Clippers in their own town by saying, I'm going over here.
You and I live closer to Nigeria than they were getting to the NBA Finals. You know that and I know that.
I don't know that. Because if Kawhi doesn't go down, thanks to Joe
Kawhi went
Ingles,
down. We can't talk about if AD and LeBron doesn't go down.
Wouldn't it have been something if the Clippers right now were in position to close out the NBA Finals? That's what would have happened.
You know what y'all in position?
Yeah.
Wrap up that fishing excursion. You remember how you was talking about Kawhi? Kawhi? Where is he at anyway?
I was wondering the same thing about LeBron James, and then he showed up in Game 5, and there he is at courtside, but then I look harder, closer. Wait a second. He's got a bottle of his tequila under his seat.
That's right.
In prominent position.
Lobos.
It's called Lobos 1707.
Yeah,
right?
Got a bottle of it. Started to bring it out here today.
Really?
And celebrate.
Well, the AD invested in it. I think did Draymond invest? I think
Draymond, Maverick.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm good with that, but I'm not sure how I got the bottle into
Why
the
you
game.
see that? You gonna see?
And wait a second, is that not classic product placement?
You see what you do?
You trying to advertise your tequila?
Oh, you try to get the man in trouble because you're not supposed to bring outside.
How did he get it in there? I don't know. He's LeBron James. He can do whatever he wants to do, right?
Well, how you got on the studio lot?
How did I get on it?
Yeah, how you get on the lot?
How did I get on it?
Yeah.
I went through the guard gate.
Okay, well, he went through the gate.
Well, didn't they check what he had with him?
Check what? What, you gonna pat the man down?
Yeah.
For what?
That's what everybody does. Is he human?
No.
Yes.
Everybody will get patted down. Stop that.
Okay. So he shows up and sits courtside, and maybe by the end of the game, Chris Paul is thinking, I wish he hadn't showed up.
See, there you go.
He's bad luck.
So now he loses.
Bad luck.
I told somebody, I said, he gonna say LeBron caused skill because he bad luck.
He has lost 6 finals, and so maybe that's like a hex. Maybe he demonized Chris Paul that night, right? Wrong place, wrong time. Chris is saying, well, I'm glad you didn't show up in Game 6, or I wouldn't even gotten to the finals.
No, he didn't say that. He was happy to have his friend there.
Was he?
Yeah.
Well, it didn't work out, right?
So now they lose the game. So what happened in Game 4? What happened in Game 3? LeBron didn't show up, so why they lose that game? If Game 5 is his fault, what happened in Game 4, 3, and 4?
And then talk about a traveling party. I look up, and it's Rich Paul with Adele.
Hold on.
It's like, where did that come from?
Hold on.
I thought it was great.
Rich Paul can't find love.
No,
He can't be happy.
I agree. I'm all into. Hey, I love Rich Paul, and he has huge charisma, huge personality, and I think that's a great match. But if you give me a list of 100,000 names, Adele would have been the last one I picked.
I like Richard Adele.
Yeah, would you? You'd picked him up high.
Yep, love the song, Rolling in the Deep.
Yeah, okay.
Yep, one of my faves.
Well, our man Lil Wayne said he ran into the VIP room before the game. He saw Adele and walked right past her. Didn't even recognize her. And they're friends. Yeah. She looked great.
She looks unbelievable.
Yeah.
And Rich Paul looks unbelievable. Don't be talking about my nephew. Talking about I couldn't have put them together.
I told it's great. I think it's a great match. But were you not shocked by it?
No.
You are? Oh, because you were privy to it?
Yeah. I didn't say anything. All I said, I wasn't shocked by it. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's just it's a traveling circus, man. It's like here we go. It's like whoa.
Oh, sorry. Let me guess.
You got Lobos 1707, and you got Rich Paul and Adele.
So let me guess. LeBron James is matchmaker, huh? He was Dollar Madison. He put people together.
I have no idea.
Oh, you everything else? Anybody that comes on the team is clutch this, is clutch that's a clutch client. So you figure anything that goes right or wrong in L.A., LeBron has something to do with it.
Well, maybe he did. I don't know.
You know what? You ought to stop.
I don't know.
So that's a grown man. He could talk for himself.
I still can't figure out Game 6 at Staples and LeBron went across the street.
Exactly.
I'll never figure that one out.
I wouldn't dare give you my money for the Clippers.
There it is. You just admitted it. That's exactly what happened. I'm going over here, and I'm going to take Dame with me.
Hey, guess what he said? Because I know the Clippers got no close out Chris going to do what he do, and I see him in the finals. Bam, bam, and there we go.
Closeout Chris didn't exactly hold serve with LeBron courtside the other night.
What about your guy? What about the PP guy?
Which guy?
The PP guy, the one that did score all the points. Yeah.
He was pretty great, I thought.
Oh, in Game 6? He was great in Game 6?
He was great all the way long. Okay. Yeah. You're lucky. You dodged that one.
No, you dodged it.
Well, how do you explain? Seriously, Chris Paul went crazy in that game and scored 27 points basically in just the fourth quarter. It was like the last 2 minutes of the third and the fourth, he scored 27 points.
Yeah.
That Chris Paul that you saw Saturday night in Game 5, do you think did he look like he could score 27 in a quarter?
Well, no. The one that's within Game 4 looked even less likely. He could score 27 in 2 games the way he played.
Okay, and he turned it right around in Game 1 and did it again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So he better do it again this time.
Yeah, he gonna need that 27.
I don't think LeBron's going to be there for this one.
Well, hold on, Skip. Now we ain't this ain't no AAU tournament. We follow you all around the country now.
I don't know.
We got our own
brothers
thing.
or not?
We got hold on, time out.
Would it help to have LeBron there? Maybe.
You just said it jinxed him.
Well, I don't know. It just seemed like he did. But
so what? Why would you want him there?
You said a few minutes ago there's going to be no star power in Milwaukee.
Who in the hell going to Milwaukee?
Well, I know Lil Wayne was for the first game for sure. For Game 3, he was going to go.
So you think they'll be Skip? We see how stars show up when it's in L.A. or in New York or in Miami. Skip, that's a different. Come on, Milwaukee, Skip, really?
Are you brothers or not? Can LeBron afford the private plane ride? Yeah.
We got a plane.
Okay. That's what I'm saying.
$650. Gee.
Okay.
Do I have to stand up here for
Go.
all my
We got
Milwaukee
one.
friends
You
here?
get there in
You
like
guys are
an
kind of
hour.
ripping on Milwaukee here. Maybe they will all show up to Milwaukee. What's wrong with Milwaukee?
It doesn't
this
wrong
is
with
the NBA
Milwaukee.
Finals. They have planes.
I just don't know if a whole lot of superstars getting on their private jet going to Milwaukee to sit courtside.
Okay, so 45 minutes to Phoenix from LA and 3 hours to get to Milwaukee. Like, what is a private plane ride? Go to Milwaukee. You
Not
guys,
in that
come
jet.
on. Jeez.
No.
Find a way to be there. And I don't
No,
appreciate
LeBron
that.
busy. We busy.
My
we
Midwest
got to make some
friends
moves.
don't like this Milwaukee hate right now.
No mercy.
LeBron Space Jam, A New Legacy, was released in theaters and on HBO Max and took the top spot, bringing in over $31 million. It's the best 3-day stretch for a family film during the pandemic, and one Warner Brothers exec called it the, quote, family movie of the summer. So, Shannon, what did it tell you that Space Jam was #1 overall at the box office?
Beat the brakes off of Black Widow. What's so crazy about this is that you can watch Space Jam on HBO Max for free.
Well, you got to buy HBO Max.
For free, but if you got HBO Max, you can watch it for free. You couldn't do that with Black Widow because you had to watch it on Disney at a premium fee. Huh? So what that tell you? And the cinema score. After people that watched the movie, left the movie, you know, Skip, they get you to fill out these ballots so you let me know what you think. They
I've done them before.
Oh, you have? So have I. And the 81%. Is 81% good? I think so. Now, they asked your guy, they asked people in 1996 to fill out said same ballots. They got 63%.
Was there such a thing as internet in 1996?
There you go.
Was
See?
there such a thing as Facebook or
There
Twitter?
were people. There was such thing as people that actually saw the movie, and they asked them to fill out the ballots just like they did at Space Jam: The New Legacy. And the Warner Brothers exec said, "What? Family movie." Family. And everybody talking about, well, grown people, Jared, I can't believe you talking about Space Jam. Who the hell you expect to talk about it? When last time you had kids that were rated, that was Siskel and Ebert, who's the other, Roper? Yeah. Rex Reed, I think Rex Reed used to be a movie critic also.
Yep.
You see, we do big things. And as LeBron once said, hi, haters. We did it again.
Well, he didn't once say it. He said it Saturday.
Okay, hi, haters. I'm saying it again.
So, on Instagram, LeBron James has 92 million followers. On Twitter, LeBron James has 50 million followers. That's a grand total of 142 million followers.
Right.
That alone should give you the opening weekend box office that we're talking about.
We did.
Furthermore, we've seen this many times before. You can advertise a movie into opening weekend success. You can just do it on sheer bombardment of ads, just as they've done for the last 2 weeks. I could not turn on my TV without seeing yet another Space Jam ad. It was bombardment, relentless bombardment, and after a while, people say, I guess I got to go see this because it's a big deal.
Yeah, they do that all the time, and I don't do that. They can put up movies on all they want to advertise it. If I don't want to see it, I ain't going.
Okay, so would you believe that on Rotten Tomatoes, the national critics, that the score for LeBron's new movie has fallen from 37% acceptable down to 31%. So it's getting only 31% positive reviews.
Yeah, it was 30. It got 31%. I saw it at 31% opening, just like your guy got 44% in his opening. But the cinema score, see, Rotten Tomatoes, I don't care because, see, the people at Rotten Tomatoes, they get to see it for free. The people that paid to see it, they gave it an 81. That's what I care about. I don't care what you say about it. It's just like a food critic. Now, you come to my place, you eat for free. Oh, you give it a bad rating, but it's filled to capacity every single night. You can't get a chair in the place. What I care about what you say as opposed to what them people pay credits.
Okay. Best family box office during the pandemic. I got to tell you, everywhere but L.A., the pandemic is over. In fact, there's an outpouring of people who can't fast enough get to the theater to watch a movie because they haven't been able to do it for a year and a half.
So let me get it straight. I got a choice. I can either go to the beach, I can go to a venue or see a sporting event, or I'm going to the movie theater. People took their kids. Some people still not comfortable going to crowded places. I know now there are a lot of places that people like have thrown caution to the wind and says, we don't care. But there are some people that are more cautious than that.
Did you see 20,000 people Saturday night in Phoenix? Did you see one mask except for those in the front row because the players, like LeBron, had his mask sort of hanging below his nose, right? But did you see any masks in the stands?
Skip, I was just in Atlanta. I didn't see one mask.
There you go.
Except on the Crime Stopping where the guy held up the gas station. That was the only mask I saw.
Okay, I got it.
So in the South, we know what's going on.
When I talk to people in Dallas or my hometown, Oklahoma City, they're like, mask? What mask? Nobody wears a mask.
And wore a mask in a year and a half. Atlanta wore a mask like the first month, 2 months.
And by the way, we here in L.A. have a new mask order starting today. Inside restaurants, you have to wear a mask.
Have to wear a mask.
Okay, inside Fox starting today, we're back in masks.
Yeah, I thought I was free and clear, but I'm not.
Nope,
I'm not free and clear anymore.
So that's in L.A. That's in California.
Yes.
I don't know. Is it northern and southern? I don't know.
I know it's L.A. County. I don't really know about anywhere else, but I know L.A. County.
But we might be the last bastion of mask wearers. Yeah. So everywhere else, they are flocking to the theater. Yeah. So it doesn't surprise me at all. So in the end, I'm going to challenge everybody one more time to do what Ernestine, my wife, and I did. We watched the new Space Jam on Friday night. We watched the old Space Jam on Saturday night. Compare and contrast and see how they come off, because you will much prefer the old one to the new one. It just has more heart. It's more clever. It's funnier. It's sweeter. It's easier to follow.
But here's the thing. Sometimes we get so caught up in critics. I remember when you and I first started our show, I won't call the guy's name. He said you and I weren't going to be on for 6 months. Oh, they barely getting 10,000 viewers. Here we are going into 5 years. I don't care what you say. What do the people say? Well, the people started coming. They like what they say. You might not like Skip. You might not like Shannon Sharpe because of something he said, or he's too loud, he's too boastful. Whatever the case may be, we still here. Okay. So I don't care what you say. I don't care what them critics say. The people with their money said 32 mil.
They did, okay? And I say, and I'm not a critic, I'm just this guy sitting over
You are a critic.
I am not a critic.
You are a critic.
And I do love me some Michael Jeffrey Jordan, but I dare anybody to watch the performance of Jordan, then watch the performance of LeBron, and tell me that LeBron outacts Michael Jordan.
But you still haven't told me what was the theme of Michael Jordan's movie, to show that I can be away and I come back and I'm still back. It's about him.
It's a cartoon.
What is this?
It's a cartoon.
It's about a cartoon. We took a cartoon.
Okay.
Kind of like, did you see Jamie Foxx's movie Soul? You saw The Princess and the Frog? The central theme, he kind of dies. This is where stays alive. And says, you know what? It's about the kids. It's about family.
Well, I didn't really want to watch On Golden Pond starring LeBron James, right?
Oh
like, come on.
You a hater.
Seriously.
I give up. You're just a hater.
I felt for LeBron because when I finally got to the end of it, it goes on for 2 hours.
Okay.
And I get to the end of it, and I think, that was unfair to LeBron because they ask way too much of him.
They asked just enough.
He bit off way more than he could chew because it became this sort of family drama that cast LeBron as the villain.
Okay.
I don't know who to root for in the big crescendo basketball game that goes on for like an hour.
It's hard for me to see a scenario in which any parent, any father have at some point in time not been a villain in their child's life. Okay, I defy you to find one.
I didn't want to see that in Space Jam, where he so alienated his kid who just wanted to create video games that his kid joined forces with the dark side.
That's what you do. You give it a real feeling. See, everything is not happy-go-lucky. See, everybody thinks because you're a professional athlete that you don't have ups and downs and you don't have family issues. These are human beings, and they have issues just like you. Just because they make millions, don't make them exempt from worldly problems. And family issues are worldly problems.
Okay.
And he had that.
Okay.
He alienated his son, but they came back together.
Well, sort of. And in the end, it was very unconvincing because LeBron was trying so hard to act, trying to win like an Academy Award.
No, he ain't trying to win no Academy Award.
And it just didn't, it came off as wooden and unconvincing to me because he's trying to act by showing love for, it's not his real son. If Bryce had played the part, maybe he could cry some real tears. He
showed that what I need to do is to support my kid in whatever he choosing. It may not be what I want for him, but what does he want for himself? That's what you do. See, Skip Bayless, you just said you wish your father would be there for you like LeBron is there for you.
I didn't just say that, but I've said it before.
But I'm just saying, but that's what I'm saying. You said that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he didn't try to discourage me. He just wasn't there.
See?
Right? He was just gone. I mean, he just wasn't around.
See?
Although he had no use for sports, so he did say that's just ridiculous. Yeah.
Well, but you were good in school, academia also. So he could have found, even if sports wasn't his thing, he could have found something else to get behind.
Yep.
No. See?
Okay, I got all that, but is that what you want in Space Jam?
Yes!
Really?
Because, Skip, that's the theme of the movie.
Oh.
What's the theme of the movie? It's about family. It's about a father
well,
being...
it's not about family. It's just about a father and a son. And it's like an overbearing, a demanding dad.
Is that not a family?
Again, look up Great Santini. He's the ultimate demanding dad. Check him out. And I didn't want to see LeBron be Great Santini.
That's a hold on. I could have swore it was a family. LeBron had a wife, had 3 kids, 2 boys, a daughter.
So I ask you again, is it autobiographical?
Skip,
I don't know.
Stop trying to read.
Well, is that what was going on in reality inside LeBron's house? Did Bryce rebel because he didn't want to play basketball? I have no idea.
Dr. Phil.
That's how it came across.
Will you please stop?
Yeah.
Okay, we just watched the movie.
Check out Jordan in the original, the one and only, the authentic Space Jam.
I saw it.
And he just takes it over.
It was about a guy that was being away and how he came back and he was still better. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, watch all the other guys act. Watch Charles Barkley and Patrick Ewing and Muggsy play themselves, and it's very convincing, and it's funny, and it's inspired, and it's clever.
When I saw Foghorn Leghorn and I saw Marvin, they played themselves. They were convincing.
Yeah. Well, LeBron wasn't.
And I like Lola.
Yeah?
Yep.
Well, you like Lola this time because...
Lola Bunny.
Yeah, politically correct Lola Bunny.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So see?
Okay.
See how we did that, Skip?
Well,
that's what we do. We ingratiate all. That's how we do things.
Well,
you see, we being like that.
It was a big budget mess of a movie to me.
Big budget.
Convoluted.
And guess what we did? We put women to the forefront. That's what we do. Family to the forefront. That's the foundation of anything that we do is family first. You see what he write on the shoes every time?
I got all caught up in the bizarre cast of villains that Warner Brothers pulled out of the archives, out of mothballs, and put them behind Don Cheadle, and I'm like, the Wicked Witch?
I get all that. I get King Kong.
The clown in it?
Skip, I get King Kong. I get Mad Max.
The Droogs from A Clockwork Orange are in the movie? I'm like, do you know who those guys were? Do you know how bad they were?
In the process. And even though LeBron has his king, you see it on his jersey, and you saw the Nike swoosh, and you saw the shoe. But let me ask you a question. Did it distract you from the theme of what the movie was about?
Yes, it did not. I got lost.
You did that?
I thought the game was never going to end.
Oh, there you go. I can't believe
I will give you maybe that it was a little long, but I think we have to remember, and Skip, no offense, this is a kid movie. Kids like this movie. It really doesn't matter what we feel.
I didn't want to see On Golden Pond featuring LeBron.
So what was the original Space Jam about? Was it a kids movie?
Identify more with this version.
Okay, thank you.
Because this was for this generation of kids, and let me remind you, it did really well. $31 million at the box office. So yeah, it
32, Jenny. We did 32.
What either of you guys think?
32 meals
for the kids.
No mercy.
The most anticipated reunion of the summer, well, it's here. I love that music. As John Cena returns home to SmackDown, plus live from Rolling Loud Miami, Bianca Belair battles Carmella, and Big E takes on Apollo. It's the summer of Cena on Friday Night SmackDown, 8 Eastern, only on Fox. And after winning games 1 and 2. The Suns have now dropped 3 straight and find themselves on the brink of losing the finals to the Bucks. Chris Paul said Phoenix needs to regroup after the 3 losses and focus on Game 6. Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard joining us now. Chris, who is most to blame for the Suns losing 3 straight at this point?
Jen, I think the word blame is too strong.
Okay.
Because I don't think there's a GOAT in this series. You know, we used to use the word GOAT like in a negative way, like the guy who blew it.
Yeah.
I don't think that's been the case. I think these are 2 evenly matched teams. We all have to face it. We know the best player on the court in the series plays for Milwaukee. So being down 3-2, I don't think there's shame in that. I can point to every star in Phoenix, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, if we want to give him that status. They've each had one really bad game, but none have been bad to the point where I would blame them in this series. But if I have to pick one guy for the sake of discussion, then it's going to be the guy who would get the most, who would be celebrated the most if Phoenix were to win, and that's Chris Paul. Look, even if Devin Booker is the finals MVP and Phoenix wins, Chris Paul is going to get the lion's share of the celebration. We're going to praise him. And so if you lose, you get the lion's share of the blame. Now, obviously, you look at Game 4. That was his bad game. Booker's incredible with 42 points. CP gives him no help. If he gives him any help in that game, other than more than the 10 points, the 5 turnovers, Phoenix likely goes up 3-1, and then it's pretty much academic from there, and they're probably going to win the series. But instead, he has the 5 turnovers in the late one that cost him a chance to try to win the game. And then last night, look, Chris was great Saturday night. He was very good. 21 points, 11 assists, only 1 turnover. Excellent in the fourth quarter with the 10 points in the fourth, hit 2 threes. But here's why I pick him. I can't pick Booker in my mind, even though he had the late turnover with a 40-point game. He carried them all night. Why I pick Chris is because of the foul on Giannis on the alley-oop with 13 seconds to go. Now, ideally, Chris would be able to get to Giannis and grab him and keep him from going up. And so now you send a poor free throw shooter to the line. He probably misses both, or certainly one of them. And you got a chance to come down and do something. But he did the absolute worst thing you could do. I don't think he could get to him in time to grab him, so he just fouled him. And as soon as I see this play, I'm like, why did you foul? Because, you know, now you're down 3. He goes to the line, and I get it that Giannis missed it. But we all know Giannis made a great play and tipped it back to Chris Middleton, the rebound. Middleton makes 1 of 2, and it's over. If Chris doesn't foul Giannis, and they've got the ball now with 13 seconds left, down 3, a chance to get a good shot, draw up a good play, and at least a better chance to win that game. So, like I said, I think this is nitpicking. I don't think one guy's been horrible, but I'd pick Chris if I have to pick one.
Well, here's the thing, Chris. As you found it very hard to blame any of the players, I didn't blame the players. I blame Monty Williams because I think he's not doing a very good job of coaching because he continuously allowed DeAndre Ayton to let Giannis drive baseline. That's coaching. Why would, when they made that run in the 6th, for some reason, I don't know what the reason is, Monty Williams is afraid to call timeout. Boo knows that they're going to 6-0 run. Bud jumping up calling timeout. He's going to stem the tide of momentum. When did Monty Williams call a timeout? Once the lead got down to 4? And think about how long he had Booker glued to the bench in the second quarter. Why would you do that? Why would you put Booker and Ayton on the bench at the same time? You lose your rim protector, you lose your rebounder, and you lose your scorer. They got Devin Booker. Milwaukee cut the lead from 16-3 with 8:30 left. Booker, that was before Booker checked in. Now, Booker was at the table for 6:30 at the 6:14 mark. What? What are you doing? Why would you do that? Why not call a timeout? Once they got the lead to 10 from 16-17, timeout, book it up. That's what you got to do. That's his responsibility. Stop trying to I got Chris Paul out there. He's a veteran player. No, you're the head coach. You stem the tide of the momentum. This is not international play. Man, look, Monty's not doing a good job, Chris. Hey, I like Monty too, and I like his calm demeanor. But right now, he's not doing a good job because he has to stem the tide of the momentum when he sees it shifting. He has to do a better job of understanding. I can't keep my rim protector, my rebounder, and scorer off the floor at the same time. What's the likelihood you seeing Giannis and Middleton off the court at the same time, Chris? What's the likelihood of that happening? That's not going to happen. So I don't know what maybe he's trying to well, we got something coming down the pipeline. But, bro, whatever you got to throw everything that you have. I just think Monty Williams, Chris didn't play well in Game 4. But I don't think Monty Williams has coached very well either, because there are times earlier that he took DeAndre Ayton off the floor when Giannis is on the floor. And what happens when you take Ayton off the court in the Giannis? They go down to Brook Lopez, and what does he do? Layup, tap, rebound, offensive rebounding. So I'm going to put this one, if I'm going to blame somebody, I'm going to blame Monty Williams.
Okay, I don't disagree with your points about Monty Williams, although to Chris's point about Chris Paul at the end of the game on the Giannis dunk, the alley-oop, you can't blame Monty for that because you got the point guard out there, a guy who's 16 years in the league, and he just, as Chris has done many times in the playoffs, went completely over the edge of frustration.
Yeah.
He just lost it. We've seen him hit below the belt. We've seen him do a lot of things in frustration, and he just fouled Giannis out of pure, crazy, angry frustration.
What about the play before that? When Devin Booker's having the ball up and coming up the court. What about Monty Williams call timeout and say, let's get a play?
I tweeted that. I would have done that. But he saw Devin Booker get the rebound off a Drew Holiday miss. And I think Monty was thinking, I got one in my back pocket, but I got the guy with the ball in his hands, and as you said earlier in the show, who's not going to let Milwaukee set its defense.
They had already set then, that's
okay. All right, but he's just dribbling up the floor, and this is hard to teach your
They got three. Look at this. Where are you going?
No, I got it.
Where are you going?
I got it. Well, it's single coverage, and you just go up right now. You just go up and shoot right there. You had him right there at the free throw line. You had him just go straight up and shoot your shot, because that's what he shoots best. He doesn't shoot 3-foot turnarounds on Giannis in the middle of the lane, and he got too deep. He just kept saying, I'll go a little deeper, and he went out into too deep a water, and when he wheeled, he lost the ball because obviously
Holiday was right there.
Just right there and just took it right out of his hands. So I give you all that, but Chris Paul had gone then went over the edge. And how's he going to, like Chris Broussard said, I'm not going to wrap up a 6'11" guy flying at the rim.
He's already up in there now. So.
You got no shot, and you foul him, and then you got lucky because he missed the free throw. And then you got completely unlucky because he missed it so badly that it bounds all the way back out to Giannis, who then blindly back taps it to Middleton, who gets fouled and finally makes the clinching free throw to end the game. Okay, so who do I blame in the big picture? Well, I'm more on Chris's side about this one. This thing is shockingly evenly matched. So what happened after Phoenix won 2 at home and they go to Game 3 at Milwaukee? I was told by somebody who really knows that Devin Booker tweaked his hamstring at the end of Game 2, and they were scared to death he couldn't go at all in Game 3, and he tried to go and was a shell of himself. Remember this?
Yeah.
And it got so bad he was 3 of 14 and 1 of 7 from 3. And remember, Monty put his arm around him on the bench late third quarter and said, I'm going to just keep you over here with me.
Right.
And I believe it was to protect his hamstring, not because he was shooting it poorly.
Right.
Okay? So I'm going to give you Game 3. That was a Devin Booker couldn't shoot game. And then Game 4 comes down to one play at the end of the game, and the point guard can't make it. And it's just one play. You're down 2 with 32 seconds left. And I don't know what happened to Chris, but he palms the ball with his left hand, and then he just unforced error loses the ball with his right hand. Well, these are the plays that separate a champion from a runner-up. And you have to make that play, and he didn't.
Right.
And then Devin Booker, on Saturday night, he's just got to make a play. You make one play for the game, and he couldn't make it. Would it help to run a play out of a time?
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe it would have. It's an easy second guess.
But Chris, answer me this. When was the time? Now, they had a 17-point lead. Milwaukee cut the lead from 16 to 3 with 8:30, and Booker is still on the bench. It wasn't until 6:14. So when does the head coach leave his best player on the bench as the team gains the momentum? So who does that? So whose fault is that? Is that Chris Paul's fault?
Okay, but they were rolling at that point.
No,
right?
they weren't. Skip that. Milwaukee had cut the lead from 16 to 3.
Oh, which time are you talking?
In the second quarter.
Oh, second quarter.
Yes.
I thought you meant in the fourth quarter.
No, the second quarter.
Okay, I got it. Well, okay, that's fair.
I think Shannon, remember, Giannis was out for a lot of that run by Milwaukee.
Yep.
Now, I agree with you that Monty should have stemmed the tide with a timeout, but I think that was his logic is, okay, Giannis is not out there. I can afford to have Ayton and Booker off the floor. Like you said, I still got Chris out there. I think that's what he was thinking. I mean, I can't defend what he did, but that had to be the thinking. And I also think, look, even when they were up big, we noticed, we've seen it time and time again in these playoffs, a 16, even a 20-point lead early
with the
doesn't
3-point
really matter as much anymore because of the three-point shooting. Yeah, so, I mean, I'm with you on that. That was a bad stretch by Monty. But a lead that early, you almost figured no matter what Monty had done, Milwaukee was going to find a way to get back in the game.
So, in the end, all I know is that Saturday night at home in Phoenix, with what might have been the loudest crowd of the year in the NBA, that after they jumped out Phoenix to a 37-21 lead after a quarter, they gave up an 87-57 run into the fourth quarter. 87-57 at home in front of that crowd. You lost by 30 in that stretch. And once you do that, it's hard for me to defend anything that you did because that's just pathetic.
Chris, guess what he did in the fourth quarter? When he saw the game getting out of hand again, Booker rest for 42 seconds in the fourth quarter. Why not rest him for 42 seconds in the second quarter? And maybe instead of giving up that lead, maybe you push it to 20. Maybe you push it to 24. You see what happened when he felt it was slipping away in the fourth? He like, Book, get back in. That's what you got to do. You can't be afraid to use those. Bud, that's one thing about Bud. Bud gonna use them timeouts. You go, what happened? They go up 6, but Bud walking, he almost at half court about to jump ball. Timeout.
No mercy. Well, the Bucks can bring home their first title since 1971 with a win in front of their fans tomorrow night, while the Suns will try to avoid losing their fourth straight and force a Game 7. Despite losing 3 in a row, DeAndre Ayton said he likes that the Suns are now the, quote, desperate team. Chris Broussard still with us. Desperate is right. Chris, will the finals end tomorrow night?
Look, maybe I'm just trying to stick with my pick and be stubborn. I picked Phoenix, obviously, to win this series, but I'm going to say no, Jen. I think Phoenix wins tomorrow night and pushes this thing to 7 games. Look, all season long, the Suns were the best road team in the NBA. They won 2 games on the road in each of their previous 3 series. And Milwaukee, for an elite team, you know, they weren't world beaters at the Fiserv Forum during the regular season. They obviously won a lot of games, but they lost a good amount, too, for an elite team at home. And I also think Drew Holiday he hasn't shot well in 2 straight games in this entire series. So I think he's going to be off. Chris Middleton, he's played 2 really strong games. We know how up and down he is. So I'm looking for him to have some struggles. Even though it's at home, I'm not looking for an outstanding game out of him. Giannis, I think Giannis has been tremendous through this entire series. But the last 2 games, he hasn't, absolutely dominated the game. So maybe Phoenix has figured out something with him. And then on the other side, I think Monty Williams pushes all the right emotional buttons over this next day, these 2 days that they've had in between games to really get his team in the right frame of mind. I think he saw what Shannon just said about him. So I think he'll push the right technical buttons during the game on the sidelines and use his timeouts. I think Devin Booker, Booker, we all know it, guys. Well, who does he want to be? Kobe Bryant. This is a Kobe moment. This is a Kobe opportunity. Yes, he was great in Game 5, but he also did have the late turnover. I know he wants to come back and bounce back from that. So I'm looking for him to be huge. And then Chris Paul, 15 years, guys. 15 years of He's had some bad moments in the playoffs. He's had a bad game here or there. He's had his failures. He's had his injuries. Whatever you want to call it, he has not been able to get that ring. So I think all of that is what he's thinking about today. And I think he'll come out tomorrow and bounce back and play with his guts out and have a big game. So I think they force a Game 7 back home in Phoenix.
I just don't know how they do it. I mean, this is the first time in the series they outscored the Bucks in the paint 52-46. But it didn't matter. The Bucks are plus 28 overall in rebounding. They're plus 32 in offensive rebounding. Therefore, they've gotten up 31 more shots. Chris, how do you win? Phoenix shot 55% from the floor, 68% from the three, and 91% from the foul line. In your own building, and you still lost. I mean, you let Giannis go for 32. You let Middleton go for 32. You let Holiday go for 27. And all of them shot well over 50%. What? Are they going to grow? I mean, there's something in Phoenix that will cause them to grow a couple of inches and get more offensive rebounding. I mean, they've lost fast break points, Skip, Chris. In four consecutive games, they've lost the fast break margin. It was 21 this time in Game 5. And Giannis only have 2. Skip, we know Giannis loves to run the break. He get the easiest baskets on dunks and layups from the fast break than anybody. He only had 2, and it was that dunk. I just don't see how they close. Now, if you tell me Book's going to go get you 42 and close out Chris is going to look like he did against either Denver, last game, Game 6 against the Clippers, or Game 1 against these Bucks, I would say, okay, we coming back. But you can't promise me that. I just don't see how they do it. I mean, I don't know how many they got to. You shoot as well as they did from the free throw line, and from the field, and you still lose. The last 2 games, and the fashion in which they lost the last 2 games, this might be the only time in NBA history that we're going to look back and we're going to say it was 2 defensive plays that were the most important plays of the series. One made by Giannis and the other made by Holiday.
Well, or 2 blunders by Phoenix. One by Chris Paul and one by Devin Booker.
Well, I'm saying the Holiday, he took it from Book, and then the Giannis block.
But I mean, that was Book's fault.
Oh, okay.
Like it was more of an offensive blunder than a defensive great play.
Oh, so you saying Book shouldn't have thrown it?
What do you mean?
The alley-oop, the Ayton.
So you're talking
Which
about
one?
the Steve.
When Giannis blocked, Ayton's dunk.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. I got it, but still later plays were the Chris Paul blunder.
With Chris, Chris lost his foot. Okay.
So I hear everything Chris Broussard said, tried to wrap my emotions around it, tried to get comfortable with it, and I just can't. Because I tweeted at the end of the game the other night, as soon as it was over, I tweeted, "Congratulations, Milwaukee Bucks, for winning the championship." Because I believe they will close out Phoenix, because I believe in Phoenix's mind they're closed out. They've lost 3 in a row. It's just hard to regain any momentum and any confidence, because what's basically happening is the backcourts have canceled each other out. Somebody will have a bad game, somebody will have a good game.
Right.
But it's Middleton and Holiday, CB3 and Book, and they sort of cancel out. But what doesn't cancel is Ayton has not been able to stand tall enough and cancel out Giannis. And what I thought happened in the big picture in Game 5 at Phoenix was DeAndre Ayton gave you the quietest 20 and 10 you'll ever see.
Yeah.
Because he's too timid for his talent. He doesn't play with the aggression that his talent should allow him to. And there have been only 3 or 4 times in this playoff run for the Suns when he got cranked, when somebody lit his fire. I don't know if it was CP3, I don't know if it was Monty. Somebody pushed the right deep button in his psyche, and he came out possessed. And when he decides at 7 feet tall that he's going to take the game over, he can take it over for long stretches. I did not see that in Game 5 at home, and it was pretty shocking to me, because even though the box score looks fine, his numbers look fine, he had some easy little up and under shots that he just left short. Like you can't do it. This is it. And he was the one who had the quote about now we can be desperate.
Right.
Well, are you going to be? You're going to play? Because he is the aircraft carrier. He's the nuclear weapon to me, where you can just take the game over on both ends of the floor if that's what you want to do. I'm not sure he ever wants to do that. Maybe he's too young to do that, but he gets out-hustled and out-muscled by Giannis regularly, mostly out-hustled. He doesn't come out with hot RPM every game, and it's usually 1 out of 5 games. Well, this better be that 1 out of 5, or I think they're going to lose fairly convincingly in this game, because I think in the backs of their minds, they're already home for the holidays. Like it's 1, 2, 3 Cancun for Phoenix, because they know they had their chances in 4 and 5 at the end, and they just didn't cash.
Chris, if you look at it before you go, Chris.
Don't you think, though?
Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead. I'll follow up after you. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask Skip, Chris Paul cannot, and I get momentum, emotions. You can try to talk yourself into being ready for a game, but you're just drained. But Chris Paul, after all this time, cannot be thinking it's over. He just can't let himself think that way.
No.
And I think Devin Booker is made of the right stuff where he won't think that way. You're right. They can't play Middleton and Drew even. They've got to outplay them because Giannis is going to have an advantage. Even if Ayton plays well, Giannis is still going to score 12, 15 points more than Ayton does. And so they've got to do that to Holiday and Middleton, and they got to say, look, we're better than these two. Historically, they're better,
they are.
Right? Chris certainly is better than any of them, and Booker will be. So that's the mentality they've got to have. And the other thing is defense, because they were a top 5 defense this season. Now, I know the Bucks were good too, but they could not get a stop. Shannon mentioned it. They were great offensively. They just couldn't get a stop. They got to stop Middleton and Drew and stop making those two look like an all-time great backcourt.
But you know who was guarding Drew? Who was guarding Holiday and Middleton? They took turns. That was CP3. If you go back and look at it in the second quarter and the third quarter, look who every time Holiday and Middleton, they were playing him like an old soul record, and he was stuck on repeat. It was over and over and over, and I tweeted, Monty, either go to a zone or get CP3 off of Holiday and Middleton. He's too small. But if you look at it, the starters really played to a push. The difference is Portis and Cottington. Portis comes in. He's crashing the boards. You know he's crashing the board. And somehow he still ends up with 9 rebounds. He still ends up with 3 offensive rebounds. What the hell you think Cottington's in for? He ain't really trying to drive the basket. He'll crash the boards. He's shooting the 3. So you can't bring the help off him, because if you do, he's going to be right in the corner to let that 3 go. Come on. Monty, you want me to, call your boy up. I'll go to the game plan with you. You know, like Kawhi was doing with the Clippers. Let your boy go over that game plan with you.
Okay.
So, Chris, back to your final point. You said Book is obviously idolizes Kobe, and yet, to me, Devin Booker's Kobe moment came with 16.7 seconds left in Game 5 the other night. That's your moment. That's when you make one shot to win the game, to change the series, or at least you hold serve in the series. It feels too late to have Kobe. He's going to have 2 Kobe games now, is what he's going to have.
Yeah, he's going to probably, in order for them to get back, he's going to need either he gets 30 and Chris Paul gets 25 and Ayton gives you 20 and 18.
He has to.
Because if they don't give you 80 plus between the 80, they might need to give you 90. Skip, if you look at it, look what they gave you. They gave you 81. But you can't let the other big 3 do what they did.
No mercy.
Saturday on FS1, the biggest rivalry in baseball is back to kick off an MLB doubleheader as Giancarlo Stanton and the Yankees take on the Red Sox. Then Randy Arozarena leads the Rays against Jose Ramirez and the Indians. It all begins Saturday at 3:30 Eastern on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. Well, Giannis has averaged an impressive 32 points and 13 rebounds over 5 games of the finals. He also continues to rack up highlight plays, including the game-sealing alley-oop at the end of Game 5, and now has the Bucks just 1 win away from being crowned champions. So, Skip, this is an important question for you. Have you come around on Giannis?
I'll start with the pluses. This is where he has impressed me as I've watched him more and more closely. He is a much better passer of the basketball than I thought he was. He is averaging 6 assists through the 5 games. That's extraordinary. He also is great at hustling. I didn't realize how hard he plays every possession, every second. He scores more hustle bunny points than anybody I've ever seen because he's 6'11", he's long, he's an explosive leaper, and he plays so hard and runs the court so hard. He takes advantage of your every little miscue where if it's the ball's loose, he's going to get it, he's going to dunk it, or just lay it off the glass. He's going to just torment you with all the easy points that he scores. Now, this has been Bash Monty Williams Day. I'm going to go now bigger picture than you have been going little picture in Game 5. What has tormented me is that Monty has decided for 5 games to play Giannis straight up. And it's really benefited Giannis because he's just had Ayton to deal with, and he has been allowed to roam free.
Right.
We've seen in the past, again and again, teams would, quote unquote, build a wall of 3 players and just say, no, you can't come in here anymore. And it would frustrate him. It would discombobulate his psyche. He'd shoot more and more 3-point shots, and he is an abominable 3-point shooter. He's now 2 of 12 in this series. I don't even know why he takes 1. And he is an abominable free throw shooter. So what's happened again and again is because he's been allowed to roam freer, he's done more damage than he usually could do, where he's never been frustrated. I wanted to see Monty say, we're going to build that wall. We're going to give you whatever Middleton and Holiday can do, because you need to put the pressure on them to do it if you take Giannis completely away. They have never taken Giannis completely away. He has been allowed to roam free. So what happened in the second quarter the other night when the Bucks got back in the game with that huge run? He was on the bench. What was he at the end of the game? Look at your box score. He was a -7. He was a -7 for the game, and they pulled it out. So, again, I've come around in little dribs and drabs and little ways, but in the biggest ways, he still frustrates me, and I've told you before, not my cup of tea.
For me, Skip, he's who I thought he was. He's 32 and 13 on 61% shooting. You got to go back. You got to go back to Shaq and get numbers like that. And like you said, Skip, he's the 5th player. He joined LeBron last year, KD in 2017, Dennis Johnson and Larry Bird as the players with 30 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, and no turnovers in the ball game. So as you said, his decision making has become a lot better. Look, I agree with you. Also, I don't even know why he shoots a 3. You're terrible. You let the defense off the hook when you attempt that. And they were like, they hope you make the first one, because if you make the first one, you will continue it. So at least like when he misses bad night, he's like, I better not do that again. Skip, he has 20 assists and 2 turnovers in the last 3 games. You can win with that. He's what I thought he is. Skip, he's a 2. He's not a 2. You don't win back-to-back MVPs by accident. You don't become a defensive player of the year by accident. He's as good as advertised. Now, he's not going to have no pizzazz, Skip. He's not going to elevate through the air. He ain't got handles. He don't shoot the 3 ball. All the things that we've grown accustomed to really liking now, the things we like Steph and Dame and Kyrie and James Harden to step back and handles, he has none of that. But if you want a guy that's just going to go out there and give you 28 points, 12 rebounds, shoot 58, 59%, that's him. That's what he is, Skip.
If you want a guy who will play so hard early in games that he hyperventilates, it has to be pulled from the game regularly after 3 minutes. They have to say, come over here and sit down for a while and get your breath back, because he's trying too hard too early, right?
But Skip, he's what I thought he is. I mean, He's been the best player. Middleton has been sensational the last 2 games, but Giannis is their best player, and he's been that. Like I said, you look at his numbers, Skip. Normally, guys don't shoot as well as from the field. They shoot better from the field than the free throw line. He's one of the guys Skip, he shoots 59% from the free throw line. He shoots 61% from the field.
Okay, I got it. But in the end, even you will agree, the closer for this team is Chris Middleton.
He is not even close. It's not even close.
So how can you be the best player and the superstar when you're not the closer for the team?
Well, that's the way they've set their dynamic up. Giannis, you get us here. Skip, it's kind of like guy running down to the 1 yard line, and then you let the other guy go over the top. But Skip, in football, what they say? Don't give him the side. Turn him back to your help. Michael Jordan, don't give him baseline. Don't give Kobe baseline. Turn him back to your help.
No mercy.
Well, LeBron James was in attendance at the game. Lil Wayne as well. Kyler Murray were some of the stars at Game 5, but it was LeBron's agent, Rich Paul, along with Adele, who began to grab headlines. According to a report, the Grammy Award-winning singer and Paul are now officially dating. So, Shannon, how surprised were you to see Rich Paul and Adele? What do you
I ain't
think of it?
surprised at all.
Yeah.
My nephew doing it. I mean, what? Celebrities, they can't have boyfriends? Rich Paul said, I'm going to shoot my shot. Hey, like LeBron, and it went in.
Really?
Yep.
Well, that's not like LeBron.
You mad? You mad?
I'm not mad. I haven't said a word.
If you got him somebody big time.
Well, he does.
He big time too. She should be lucky to have him.
Well, I know Rich Paul a little, and I've told you before, I like him a lot.
Yeah.
And LeBron is blessed to have him and Maverick because they are dynamos.
Yes.
And Rich Paul has a huge personality with huge charisma, so I'm not at all surprised that Adele would choose him, but I would not have predicted this would become a couple because they seem to come from opposite ends of the earth, and voila, they're together.
What if I should have been right next to him with my bootang?
Really?
Yeah. She might
you
be
want to make an announcement?
She might be a celebrity. You never know.
Who is it?
See, there you go. See, there you go. I can't tell you nothing.
Huh.
All I'm saying is my nephew happy.
Yeah.
And I knew he'd been happy for a while now.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so you knew this?
I ain't know nothing.
Okay, so you weren't surprised because you were on the inside.
There ain't no inside.
I wasn't. When I read this, I was like, really?
Oh, really?
Wow.
My nephew doing big things right now.
Well, he's been doing big things for a long time.
I tell you what, I bet when the concert come out here, I bet you I'll be front row.
Really?
That is it for Undisputed. Skip Shannon. Great stuff today. The Herd is on now. Have a good day, guys.